Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Yui here, and today I have an intelligence build for you guys, which is actually very rare that I do one of these. But the reason being is that I want to talk about this weapon right here, the Death Ritual Spear, which just recently got buffed in the latest patch. And I did like this weapon beforehand, but now it just feels even better, and it's definitely a top tier option. Now, the Asher War itself just rains a bunch of magic spears from above, which will hit a target multiple times, so it's very good against larger enemies and just larger bosses themselves. So as you see, with the gameplay coming up, it will do a bunch of damage to a single target, which is really, really good. And with the latest patch, it did just increase the attack power of it, as well as reduce the damage detection time, so the spears will just fall down quicker than they would have normally, which is obviously really, really good. But as for the build itself, we're going to be rocking 50 Vigor, 24 Mind, 20 Endurance, 38 Dexterity, and 60 Intelligence. Now, I know that this weapon does have a B in Dex and a D in Intelligence, but the Asher War actually scales more off Intelligence stat, so therefore you're going to get better returns by specking into Intelligence. And the fact that we're using a Spear means that we can Power Stance it and get an absolutely amazing moveset, because a Spear Power Stance moveset is very, very stupid. So I was going to use the Clayman's Harpoon, because this is probably like the best magic spear in the game, and just put that with a magic infusion and it'll just do a lot of damage. Another cool thing about the weapon itself is that it does have 110 critical, so just using it as a primary option to just do backstabs and riposts and whatnot is definitely going to be really nice, especially with the Asher War doing a decent amount of posture damage. It actually will guard break enemies pretty easily, so just cleaning up with that critical is a very nice combo. I'm going to be using the Academic Glintstone stuff because there is a few sorceries that I do want to talk about, which actually did recently get buffed as well. As for the talismans, going to have Magic Scorpion Charm to increase magic damage, Graviton Mass Talisman to boost the sorceries, Shard of Alexander to boost the weapon skill, and the Spear Talisman to enhance counter damage, because using spears is going to be a bunch of pokes, a bunch of counter damage, and that's just going to help us improve the overall damage itself. As for the spells though, going to have Rock Sling. Now this one is just a pure physical spell, so therefore if we're going to go up against an enemy that is very magic resistant, this is going to be a nice option for its certain variety. Carrion Slicer is good for cleaning up kills. The Gavel of Heimer did just get buffed recently to where it does more damage, as well as doing more posture damage as well. And you will notice this one actually does stagger enemies really, really nicely and posture break them really well. And then Comet is just like a very good range option, and it did just get buffed to where it does more damage now, which can't complain. Okay, testing the build out on Steven really quick. Now, testing the Asher War, as you can see, it has a whole bunch of range, which is really, really good. But being that it does take a little bit of time to come down, they can dodge it very easily if they just keep walking past it. But yeah, with Steven being as slow as he is, he's not going to stand a chance. And with how much range that it does cover, and how large the AoE itself actually is, and for only 20 FP, it's a very easy to cast or easy to spam type of Ash. And yeah, as you can see, posture breaks really nicely, and it's clean up with 110 critical spear. And yeah, a lot of enemies don't stand a chance, and a lot of those spears are actually missing him as well. So if you're going to go up against an even larger enemy where more of those spears would hit, it will do so much more damage. I'll just test out a few spells really quick. The newly buffed Comet is pretty nice. Steven, where are you going? Get back down here. He lured me into his trap. Stop that! Let's finish off with the spear moveset. But yeah, this build is honestly really, really good in PvP. Or PvE, excuse me. I'm being used as a lot of versatility. The spear is obviously just one of the best weapons in the game, especially Power Stance. And with this Asher War, you're going to be doing pretty good AoE, so clearing up multiple groups of enemies at once, or larger enemies, is going to be a piece of cake. And with all these different types of spells, like Comet being a really good ranged option, Gavel of Heimer didn't really get to showcase it much, but it does really nice posture and stagger damage as well. And it will posture break enemies really nicely. And being that it has really good hyper armor during its casting animation, it's just really good at just staggering enemies if you're just having a problem with actually trying to get them to stop, really. But as for PvP though, I will probably have some more gameplay of PvP towards the end of the video, so feel free to skip ahead if you want to see what it's like. But it does do really nice damage, and it will stun lock, but just actually getting to hit with it in the first place is going to be very hard. And being that you don't really have any hyper armor during the animation of the Asher War itself, it's going to be a very high risk to use. But if you do end up hitting with it, they will stun lock, and it will just end up doing a whole bunch of damage, probably up to 1,000 damage, which is obviously really, really good. And being that they're staggered the entire time, you can actually run in, close in the gap, and just end up hitting up with your spear, and probably end up killing them anyway in the one shot. So yeah, it's a very, very fun Asher War to use, but it's definitely more of a PvP option, and just melting bosses in general. But yeah, the rest of the gameplay will pretty much speak for itself. It's everything I want to cover in this one today, so feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and see you in the next one, guys. Peace.